What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of New Book Who Dis.
I am, of course, your host, DeathMetalHero, and with me is longtime friend of the channel and returning guest for New Book Who Dis, Mr. Vaugh Coleman. What's going on, brother? How you?
I'm good, man. I'm really good. I've been working like a madman, but it's all gonna pay off eventually. But yeah.
It's an uphill grind, man, when doing this indie comics thing.
Yeah,
you know,
especially when I keep adding more projects to myself.
just remember you did it to yourself.
To myself, I know.
Yeah.
Like I just got this today, and I'm like, why didn't I celebrate this like years ago? And I was taking a moment to record, but not taking enough time to go, man. Came pretty far. You know, this was years ago. This is the second comic ever edited, and it finally came out. I don't know why it was in hell for so long. It was good when I edited it, and then time would pass. But anyway, I'm like, oh man, I've actually done stuff in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Nice.
Feline says your volume is a little low.
Oh, is it low?
Yeah, it's still a little low. If you can turn up your microphone.
How's this? Got my gain turned up. Is that better? More? Okay. I think it's going to be blaring on the next stream I go on. Is this?
Maybe. But yeah, you definitely sound better now. I can hear you much better.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, definitely. But yet, real life always gets in the way, man. You know, you never can tell what's going to get in the way when it comes to producing a book or getting it out there or getting things printed. You know, printing problems, formatting issues, all kinds of stuff. You never can tell. But at least it's out now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's since you were here, I guess promoting Phenomenova Book 2, what's been going on since the last time you were here? I mean, we got to hang out at Heroes Con.
We did. I went to a bunch of conventions. I've been writing like crazy, promoting like crazy, building networks. I'm on the front page of Global Comics. I went from, hey guys, I'm kind of there to, hey, I'm very much there. So that's been exciting. More people are reading my book than ever. That's been great. That was a very pleasant surprise. Like, because I answered for an interview, and then I go and I just look, and I'm like, I'm on the home page, and they're like, oh yeah, we added you to the home page. I'm like, that's awesome. So I guess someone over there really liked it.
Right on.
That's been good. In general, I'm just doing all right, man. I'm doing very all right. I've got between 2 and 3. I kind of went through a phase where I was just writing a ton. Like, I wrote, let's see, for a Phenomenova issue 4, or no, sorry, not for 4. I'm going to revise, but I took a break from Phenomenova for a bit, and I was like, let me do some short stories, because Allie and I had done that, and we had our submission deadline, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do 5 short stories. I'm not doing 1. I had one, like I could have stopped, but I went idea, and then it just kept going. And so that is really exciting. So right after this campaign is over, am I going to sit on my victory? No, I'll open up a Fun My Comic and go, all right, have at it. Also, new book coming out, the kind you have to read,
Oh, so you're doing the whole prose bit.
Book. Yeah.
Branching out.
Because
Okay,
I'm like,
good.
you know what? I don't have to pay for every little visual.
Right.
You
can just use words to craft. I get it.
And I actually think this is some of my best writing I've ever done.
That's awesome, dude.
And it kind of would lead into a topic, I guess, if you want to get there before Phenomenova.
Well, let's say go ahead and say hi to the chat. We got Michael Rushbrook in the chat.
Oh yeah.
What's up, Rush? Good to see you, brother.
He's got some work on this campaign.
Yeah, he does. He's got that awesome that awesome trading card that he's been showing off and encouraging people to get you to what is it, 20K?
Yeah.
To get that card. Y'all better do it because that's a badass card.
It'll be reused on issue 4 if need be, but I think you'd all rather get more bang for your buck. No, so that's
absolutely.
Get it to 12K and then get it to. We only have 4 days. See how far we could take it.
Jump in there if you haven't. Screaming Raven. Hey there, Rush. Hail to the chat. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for hanging out. There's my beautiful, lovely lady with them gorgeous hawk eyes picking out the mistakes that I make. Yeah, this is. She noticed the N wasn't in your name in the original thumbnail, and she's like, I was about to say, Oh, wait, that's not it. There it is. I was about to say, where's the N? So, yeah, this is why I always show her things before I send it off or I do things.
Editors, they're important.
Absolutely. You got to get
I
that
had
outside
someone.
perspective, man. And she's always good at finding stuff.
I didn't realize I had some glaring issues with my website. Actually, shout out Miki Ariam. She just messaged me these. Did it fix this? I just spent. And then yesterday, I was like at 10 a.m. I'm like, all right, I'm done. She goes, yeah, that's pretty good. This. And I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, all right, well, guess I'm doing this tomorrow. And eventually, I hit enough of them where I'm like, all right, does my website function properly? Yeah. Is it less of an eyesore in certain areas? Absolutely. And I wrote a bunch on another list, and I'm like, there we go.
Nice. What's up, Ray? Good to see you, sir. Mr. Ray Halak, speaking of websites, this dude knows the ins and outs of websites and makes gorgeous websites. Yeah, he do. Feline's already got the link for Phenomenova 1 through 3 chain reaction in the chat. So help this campaign get to 20K so you can get that Rushbrook card.
The very least, we'll get to 12K here. Remember, there's also people that are only going to back on one platform or another. I never really understood that personally.
It's a personal preference. I totally understand not wanting to back on Kickstarter because it doesn't take the money out until the end, and it sometimes catches people off guard. And I liked that Indiegogo took stuff out at the when you purchased it. But Indiegogo doesn't really seem to give a shit about indie comics. To be fair.
That was one of the reasons, and it was like, I'm not even sure if I'm going to use it this time because, to be honest,
I don't blame you.
Last time I was there, I think that the straw for me was I was like 60 days. I'm like, all right, this is my third choice platform. All right, there's enough you Indiegogo fans for 500, and I was like, this is just an easy. And then I was like, what the hell? Like, why is this one? I had to put more effort. Then the next weekend, after 60 days of literally to the last day, squeezing to get it past 500. Then suddenly, just so that I don't have the optics, I don't really care. I made it for you guys, and I was like, oh, I guess there's not enough of you guys.
Right. Wanted to make sure that people could use their platform of choice.
Yeah, and then I was like, you know what? And then that weekend, after I close it, the next weekend, I make more than that in one day in an anime show. And I'm like, why am I here?
Yeah. No, I totally get it, man. Indiegogo seemed to be like the, the gold rush for indie comics for a while. But honestly, Kickstarter has a better outreach for comics. They've got more of a market for comics than Indiegogo does. I mean, I would use either Fund My Comic because I want to see Fund My Comic get to be the place to crowdfund comics, and then Kickstarter.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess I'll have another boom, I guess, with Fund My Comic because, I mean, man, one of the things too, maybe I'll do if there's a real demand for Indiegogo, not just people saying they want Indiegogo,
right?
Then maybe I'll do it. But I mean, man, I feel like there's going to be a Fund My Comic second rush. So as far as this goes, the less Fund My Comic has to raise, So 20K is still attainable, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, I know people like the first 2 issues. About 100 of these new backers are newcomers, maybe more.
Yeah, right. No, I really enjoyed the first issue, man. I really did. I wrote that review that I posted earlier today a while ago, but I ended up going out of town and not getting a chance to post it. But I wanted to make sure that I posted it today, just in case people were on the fence about jumping into the superhero world that you've created. I like it, man. I like where you're going with it. I can tell that you love classic superheroes. Yeah. I can tell that you have a reverence for the source material where we all grew up reading this stuff. And you've definitely got a youthful exuberance that kind of comes through in the character. So, I mean, I really do think people should jump on this book and enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. I appreciated that. And 3 is the most excited I've been. What? Okay, yeah. The first one, I guess, technically. But the first one was always, get this so we could get to this. And now, finally, we have the title team. This, we get to see a bunch of the heroes I've come up with and a bunch of the villains. Like this is the most in terms of heroes and villains. I guess technically the first has the most first appearances. Literally every single character that shows up is a first appearance if it's the first issue. But I mean, outside of that, this is huge. But I mean, one of the things that is exciting about this is Galvanite. I always was like, let me make you care about one character.
Sure.
Tell a really simple origin because I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
I'm just trying to make a good wheel that functions, that I can build other stuff. My job was to lay the foundation to build better stories upon.
Right.
Doesn't mean I wasn't going to make a good story, but I always knew I would top it.
Well, I mean, that's how it goes. I mean, it builds, you know?
Yeah. And 3 is like, we're seeing finally a lot of unanswered questions are starting to get answered as well as new ones raised.
Right.
We're seeing a bunch of new characters. The title team itself, Phenomenova, finally showing up, and we're seeing the action. We're seeing like Dark Cloud we saw in issue 1, but we didn't see much of him. Now we see he's got a whole crew with him because you don't just take over the reactor with just a handful of guys. Like, no, they had a crew.
Right.
So now it's like what I wanted to do with the cover, because I always am big on making sure the cover tells the story. Because my artist drew this beautiful thumbnail that I might use for the issue 4 cover or something else, where it's all the characters. It's like a montage cover, and I said that's beautiful. Save that, because it was all the heroes. I'm like, what I want to do is show the 4 of them up against like a ton of odds, where it's like on their own, yeah, they're fierce, but you're like, you get the sense that like, I don't think they're enough.
They may be a little outclassed at this particular juncture.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know, that's the thing. People really love an underdog story. People love to see the heroes triumph. You know, we backstage. We were talking about Harlan Ellison, and you know, a lot of his stuff will definitely bend your brain, but he does like to tell an underdog story. You know, when I was in Jason's chat and I mentioned Mephisto and Onyx.
I haven't read that yet.
That's a good one. That's a really good twisted story, and that actually has that whole underdog story, that whole underdog theme to it. Because you think, I don't want to spoil anything. He leads you one way, and then he gives you a beautiful twist ending, and it's really, really fucking good. Highly recommend. Let's take a little side trek into Harlan Ellison. Like you were talking about I have no mouth and I must scream.
Yeah, so I wrote that, I read that for some reason. Someone had mentioned it to me at work, and then for some reason I just got the random itch to read it, and I read it.
Yeah.
And I don't read a lot of prose, and I was just like, prose. Oh my god, that is, whew.
Yeah,
like that
Harlan Ellison, he knows how to craft a story that's going to keep you glued to the pages and wanting to know what's going to happen next. They did a point and click video game back in the day on computer. That. It's fucking great, man. Like pre-rendered artwork for it. I mean, it's beautiful for the time period as well. But yeah, that story really just kind of, I don't know, it made me feel like almost suffocated because, you know, the people, they're stuck in this fucking metal thing and there's no escape.
It's the mainstream answer, but it is his best in my opinion. I haven't read all of his other stuff, though.
Right.
I know
it's the one that really seemed to impact people a lot. Yeah.
So I read that, and then I was so inspired, and I have listened to a lot of short horror stories, like for the subreddit No Sleep. That helped inspire me to write short stories.
Yeah.
I listened to a lot of audio narrations on YouTube, and then that coupled with that, and then there was this story that just, I had this feeling, and I have no mouth and I'm a scream. There's a way that I like about prose where you get into a character's head and you can just explain things, stream of consciousness. And I think the way that story is structured is brilliant, where it's this hook with this guy hanging there, and it's like here, and then some of the best, I think, delivery of exposition I've ever seen, where it gets to this campfire scene, and he starts telling the story, and then he starts freaking out, and he's like, no, you have to tell it this way. And then you get the sense of, this is what happened. We're introduced to Am, and then that chilling ending, like, and just the way it made me feel.
Yes.
Just revisiting it over immediately. I remember going to a bar at college, and I'm like, because I was going to stay home on a Friday night and just read A Boy and His Dog. And while I'm online
That's
waiting
another
at
good one.
Austin, I'm just like reading it on my phone because I'm like, I cannot put this down. And this, I was like, 47 pages, that's kind of long. And I blew through it.
Oh, yeah.
And, but I remember I had this feeling like there were some fears I had. And I think it's might be my best of the short stories I wrote still, potentially. Very proud of it. And I don't want to touch it. Like kind of like what Harlan Ellison did with I Have No Mouth and On My Screen. I don't want to touch it. I want to keep it pure, and perfect, whatever. I like. I'll have it like Allie's going to edit it. But this short story called The Dragon Feeder that I wrote, I was very much inspired by I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, where it's this impressive atmosphere. Short stories right now. Short stories. So here's why I liked these short stories. It was when I wrote these, it was like I had an idea, I had a mood, I had a feeling. I had a note I wanted to end on. I just kind of got it. And those are pure because with Phenomenova, I'm thinking about every little thing in the world. I'm thinking about subplots. And so on a technical level, it may seem like a simpler story, but it's actually more complex. But what I like about these is these ones are almost in some ways, I don't want to say Phenomenova isn't pure because it is very, very pure to me, but it's almost just like, whoosh, it's just out of me. It's just, and I'm not thinking too much about like marketability and character designs and what works. And
you're just able to get a story out. You know, you don't have to put as much forethought into it. You can, like you said, you can kind of do the whole stream of consciousness almost.
Because that story, I Have No Mouth and On My Screen, was written in one night, basically. And so
a fever dream of a story, yeah.
And it's kind of coherent in that way. And so I wrote that story called The Dragon Feeder, and I was so inspired by it. So that, and then there was a poem I wrote were the oldest stories. And then it was like my thesis statement with how I was feeling in certain things in college. And then I left it alone for a while, and I always knew I wanted to do something with it. Then Allie and I were talking. She's like, oh, I wanted to do an anthology book. I'm like, hell yeah, we're doing an anthology book. And that was like my calling. And there was this idea. Do you ever have fragments of ideas for stories?
Oh, fuck yes, all the time.
So I had this line that stuck in my head and this feeling for a while. So I throw that on there and I start writing and more. So by the way, as soon as Phenomenova issue 3 is done, we're launching right into this short story collection. Nice. We're gonna launch that early October. Get that funded, get that out. But there is going to be a story.
It's a good time period for spooky stories. For scary stories. Yeah.
And there was what was I going to say? There was like this feeling. One of the things I think I liked is there was this, I was like, you know what? This one character that wouldn't be able to appear until at earliest the teens of Phenomenova, one of my earliest characters I came up with, kind of works as a horror character. It's like a violent anti-hero. And I'm like, what if it was like, you know how in the Batman, like you have the thugs that are terrified? Because it's like, I'm like, what if we do it from the perspective of one of those guys and it's a violent anti-hero? I'm like, that's terrifying.
Striking fear into the hearts of, the weak-minded men. Yeah, totally.
Anyway, so I ended up writing 6 different stories, one of which is that, and the other is a comic idea for a bad girl book that I can't get to yet. But I'm like, this could be a good horror story. Let's throw that in there. So that was fun. But anyway, sorry, that Reapers in Pursuit, be on the lookout, check out my socials, whatever. But back to Harlan Ellison, I kind of like just dove into his work. I remember going through audiobooks and whatever. So I did. And then I did a similar thing with Lovecraft recently.
Yep.
Harlan Ellison, I did I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. I did A Boy and His Dog. There's an audiobook that I like the ones that he did. Jeff D Was 5. That was a good one. Repent Harlequin, said the TikTok men. That one.
His titles, man.
That was a ridiculous title.
I know. And they're always his titles always make you think. Like they always do a good job of like giving you like a little idea of what the story's going to be.
We're not even really. What is Jeff D Was 5? What is it? So this kid was 5 years old. What is? And then you read it and you're like, oh, that is weird.
Yeah.
That is really. Why is he 5 years old when he should not still be? Like that. The Repent Harlequin is the TikTok man. It's like that is so much jargon.
Yeah.
And then you have A Boy and His Dog. Where it's actually an even more complex story. No, just call it A Boy and His Dog because it is. I mean, that is accurate.
That's Harlan to a T, though.
Yeah.
Like this really complex story, he's just going to give a simple title. Simple
Whereas
story, he's going to give like a
Lovecraft-
complex title. Yeah.
Lovecraft will do like they there was this Arthur like what is it? It's like something relating to the late Arthur German and his family. And they were like, "Can we just call it the White Ape?" And he was like, "No!" Like he got like angry. He's like, "I would never publish." I'm like, "I think that's a fine title. He gives you like but he will go with these like either oddly specific or vague or sometimes both titles. And I think that's the point, is because he wants you to know basically nothing. But with Harlan, I would say Pain God, that's another good one. That one takes its time, and I kind of go, wow, like it's very his stuff. What I like about Harlan Ellison's is it's easy to read. He's very easy to read.
Yes.
And then you just kind of you plow through it, and then you go, wow. Whereas Lovecraft, you go, all right, I need to read a summary, because we've been talking about this door for like 2 pages. With this, where Harlan Ellison, like he'll describe this whole world history through a couple people around a campfire just talking.
Yeah, because Harlan understands language. He understands brevity and storytelling. You know, that's why he did a lot of TV. That's why he did a lot of Star Trek. You know, he understands the language. He understands how to get to the point and keep it entertaining. Lovecraft would have a tendency to get fixated upon things.
He's because I read this whole thing and then I went back and read the introduction. There's a quote where he goes, "I'm not interested in people at all," and he doesn't care about human.
That's obvious.
Like, there's maybe like 2 human characters I could think of in all of his catalog where I'm like, oh, that person had a distinct personality, but all of the times it's like basically a proxy for a weird thing happening. You know?
Yeah, it's just the vehicle for the audience to experience this really weird scenario that he's got in his head.
And like with Harlan, with like I Know Math and I'm a Scream, like you remember. Not only do you remember, you want to go back and keep revisiting the characters. It's so fascinating. The way he's able to get so much personality.
Yeah.
In with all these crazy sci-fi concepts, because I think the difference between those two, and I say that because those two I delved into Lovecraft even more extensively, but Harlan Ellison was able to kind of just there's something about the way he's able to just kind of like have a complex thing, but make it really easy to get, and what you're thinking about are the thematic elements more than anything. His stories are very rich in character and theme, and they always pack a punch. So there's this other one. What's the name of? Because you know more than me. What's the name of the one where they're in the like space circus? Big something.
Fuck, I don't know.
Like,
I can't remember right off the top of my head. It's I have a Harlan Ellison like anthology that I listened to. Like it was a bunch of his stuff put together in a single like giant audio book, and it's been years. I went on a Harlan Ellison kick like years ago. But I do agree he takes he's able to get these concepts across very with real language. He uses real language in his stories to make sure that the audience, can get into them. He doesn't have to use $10 words like some authors. He doesn't need to show you. He doesn't need to prove how intelligent he is. He's just going to write a story, and you're going to be caught up in it.
And it seems like he just had very mixed views. It's not like, because a lot of people try to put him in categories. Like I don't know.
You can't categorize.
I don't know why
Harlan
this
Ellison.
is one of the first things. Was he a leftist? Which I never even thought to put him in political thing. But I'm like, first of all, why is that your first instinct to put someone in a? But anyway, I'm looking. Okay. Oh, the soldier, the one the Terminator's based on.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe not.
Yeah, James Cameron liberally lifts from everything that's come before him when he creates shit.
No, I mean, dude, X-Men, Claremont's X-Men run, there's a scene where Colossus is taken out by like an oil or a truck with liquid nitrogen and fire as a metal being. And then Terminator 2 comes out. Isn't that? Oh, there's that shot where
Cameron was supposed to do
past, right, where Wolverine gets obliterated, and then you see his metal skeleton. Terminator comes out. Oh, very simple. How interesting. Or Alien, like the Brood Saga came out before Aliens.
Oh, yeah.
So like they established the Queen. They established they operate like a hive, that they use
Yep.
hosts. None of that was in the first Alien. Suddenly Aliens comes out. Wow, look at all these new lore additions. And I didn't realize that until I was reading Claremont. I'm like, wait a minute. When did
Hold
this come
on
out?
a second here. Well, that's because Cameron was supposed to direct a X-Men
movie, yeah.
Yeah, in the 80s. He was supposed to direct an X-Men movie, and he was a big fan. He's a big comic book fan.
Yeah.
But he then started talking to Stan Lee about Spider-Man,
and then he did neither.
And then did neither, exactly.
And that's why in the animated series, Sandman never shows up and Elektra doesn't show up until the end.
Yeah.
It's because they were going to be... I don't know why they couldn't just use them in both, but they were like...
No clue.
What's
Hollywood
up, Phil? Logic. What's going on?
Dang. Good to see you, man. Welcome. But yeah, Cameron lifts liberally from everything around there and then gets praised for being so original. Because Avatar is Fern Gully and Dances with Wolves in space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do listen. I pull from stuff. Everyone pulls from stuff.
Sure.
So I'd be.
We pull from what influences us, but real artists, they pull and they mix things together and they make something new. They put a new spin on it. They don't just like take basically the framework and then put a new mask on it. They don't paper mache over it and call it their own.
Sorry, this has been driving me crazy. All right, it's Big Sam Was My Friend. See what I mean?
I don't know that I've actually ever read that one.
That one is like, man, that one's sad.
Yeah. I don't know that I've ever actually read that one. I've seen that title before, but I don't think I've ever read it.
Let's see. I don't know if I know Deathbird. See, some of these I've read because I would just find them in YouTube when I was going through.
Yeah.
Man, the ones he read, like that audiobook of A Boy and His Dog, those are the best ones and you could just tell he writes the way he talks.
Yes, he does. He speaks with real language and he writes with real language.
Croatoan. Croatoan. I know this
Croatoan.
one. Yeah,
that's a good one.
That was the one where, again, this is where people try and throw politics because they'll just throw something like abortion in there and then he won't give a stand. He'll just be like, "This happened," and then you're like, "How am I supposed to feel?" And he's kind of like, "You decide."
Well, yeah, he's not here to tell you how to feel. He's telling you about a series of events. He's telling you a story, and he's letting you make up your own mind because that's what real writers do. They're not here to beat you over the head. They are here to present you with situations and a story, and then you figure it out because stories require the audience participation. That's one of the things about comics that is so beautiful is that it requires the audience participation.
God,
it makes the audience pay attention.
Stories. And you're adding to my to-do. See, this is the thing.
You're welcome. I'm like, hey, how about Richard Matheson? You ever read any Richard Matheson?
No, dude. I want to do a regular show where we just talk about shit I'm interested, whether it's comics or whatever. Like set a weekly time. I would love to just dissect some of Harlan Ellison's work.
Yeah, that would be fucking fun, dude.
I want to dive back into New Teen Titans. Like, there's so
I
much
Am
stuff.
Legend. I'm sure you've heard of the movie I Am Legend.
Yeah, the short story I've heard is good.
The story, the book that he wrote is so much better than any movies that they've done. The Omega Man with I guess that was what's his name? Charlton Heston, I think, is the Omega Man, and then there was one that they did with Vincent Price, and both of those are based on I Am Legend. But yeah, the original short story of I Am Legend is so fucking good. And The Incredible Shrinking Man is another good one by Matheson. I want to say Stir of Echoes was another Matheson story. But yeah, man, I like a lot of like the like mid 70s into like mid 80s and beyond authors. There was such a really like a wealth of good storytelling back then that set the stage for a lot of the shit that we enjoy now. And a lot of the stuff that is coming now is kind of a pale imitation of people that were inspired by the good shit back then.
Mm-hmm. Which I was hoping, Phenomenova wouldn't be. But here's the thing. I wear my influences on my sleeves. Anyone knows. I'm making a list again, as if I need another one.
There's a lot of good stuff to research, man, and to let it influence. Zayd knows what I'm talking about. He liked Omega Man.
I think I'll do like building up to launch Reapers in Pursuit maybe through. I'm gonna try and get a weekly show on the road. I just want to plan some cons and then figure out nights that work for me.
Right.
So
Well,
my
it's always a juggling act, man.
always, especially when I keep adding new. I'm like, all right, let me put some aside. But man, that was what I liked is I just kind of focused in and just would write. I'd be like, nothing else, just me and the page and the story and the mood. And I would find a lot of stuff. And I keep thinking back on some of my stuff. I'm like, man, this was some of my most profound writing. And I think there's something about the purity of that. And or I'd be like, I want to write about this situation or this feeling I have.
Yeah.
And then, because here's the thing, it's not, I don't want to write a one-to-one. If I want to do that, then I'm not going to write fiction. I'm just going to talk to someone about what's going on in my life.
Right.
I don't want to do that. That it's honestly sometimes some of the most helpful ways to get through stuff. And I think, you know, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream is just, it's so relevant. And another thing about him too, is his stuff is dark, but like there's like some levity and often like there's like some comedy in there too. Like I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream is dark, but there's some like funny stuff in that story.
Oh yeah. Well, and that again, Harlan Ellison is one of those writers that understands, you know, for lack of a better term, the human condition, being human. You know, even in like the really dark, shitty things that are going on, finding a way to laugh. Plus, in a story, you've got to have contrast. You've got to have levity, because if it's just the same tone all the way through, it gets boring or it gets too heavy to take. You know, you don't want to continue. But if you get little hits of levity, you get some contrast, and it makes the dark shit, you know, really stand out. But it also makes these light levity moments, you know, really pop in your mind, and it makes people feel real. It makes these characters feel real, and that's one of Harlan Ellison's strengths, in my opinion. He makes these characters feel real because, one, he uses real language. You know, he doesn't try to make them sound more articulate than they are, and he's really good at dialogue. His dialogue is great. You know, they feel like real characters discussing things back and forth. Yeah.
No matter how cartoony they can be,
Sure. Well, I mean, you know, hey, back when he was writing this stuff, there was a lot of crazy people out there doing crazy shit. So, you know.
I mean, I don't think much has changed in that department, but yeah.
That's true. That's true.
I think, I mean, and that's one of the things. And you know what reminded me a lot of Harlan Ellison's work, actually, was I was, after, you know, Peter David passed away, I haven't read a ton of his work. But I'm probably going to read his X Factor eventually. I'm taking a break from X-Men now that I just finished Claremont's run. But,
right.
I was like, you know, Hulk the End is, and that really feels like he pulled from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream a lot.
Probably.
Even down to like the way, like Peter David was able to have this sad stuff with comedy. He was able to do comedy really well. Like you'd have this machine that comes up and just coldly is like, oh yeah, you're all dead. We just wanted to confirm. Oh, are you here to save us? No, we just want to confirm that you're dead because we all hate you. We all hate humanity. You guys cause so many problems. And that's so sad for the Hulk to hear.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny.
Dark, black comedy.
You know, and he was able to do that. And he's like, you're gonna wish you had. It's like he's able to just do these, and that was one of the things I struggled with my first issue when I was writing it over and over. Is I think like you mentioned the stuff you mentioned, I'm so glad it shone through in my writing more than the characters that were showing up, because I would ultimately cut characters that I think my characters inside and out more than anything, and there would be characters that I thought inside and out that don't even have a line anymore. Like there's one bully with the jock. He was like the jock bully was supposed to be the main one.
Right.
I was like, what is my story about? What am I trying to say? What do I want you to feel?
Right.
And Miles is jokier in some versions, and I still want him to be a happier character, you know, with stuff. But it was which I do think he does a bit of that. But it was how do I tell you, okay, this is what I'm trying to say as a writer about humanity and about superheroes. Like, what is my down to its core, hence the title of issue 2, down to the core, where I go further into this. What am I trying to say about superheroes? What am I trying to say about Miles as a character?
Yeah.
And how does that reflect humanity? How does it reflect the nature of heroism and all that stuff? That was what was most important.
Yeah.
Was the themes of the series, then we can have more characters and more cool stuff to explore the themes with.
Well, if it adds to the story, if because there's an old adage that says, and I'm probably going to butcher this quote, but every one stroke too many ruins the masterpiece. You know, and everything that is not in service to the story is a detriment to it. You know, it's a saying that's used mostly in terms of art. You know, everything that is not adding to the piece is a detriment to the piece, and it's about what it means is finding balance. Finding balance in what you're crafting, whether it be a piece of artwork or a story. There's got to be that balance. Sometimes too much will ruin the tone or the flow or the pacing of things. The same way, you know, adding too many brushstrokes or over rendering something in a piece of artwork will take away from the overall piece. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying, and that sounds like what you were doing.
Yeah, and sometimes that means taking a step away. Like I took a step away from a certain character, and then I was like earlier today, I'm like looking at the character, I'm like, you know what? I've seen that hairstyle a million. Let's do something different.
Right.
I've seen that. I'm like, you know what? So like little things like that do go a long way. But it was, I agree. I add too much, or even with issue 4, there was this thing that survived multiple drafts. I'm like, this is taking away from character moments. Why don't we do this? And I'm gonna rewrite issue because I've 1 through 8. I'm very proud of. My editor and I were both like, 4 is kind of, you know, it's good, but like I'm so happy with 3. I'm like, 4 is good. There's some really good stuff. I'm like, what if we just kind of took some stuff and just went? And so 4, I am gonna rewrite, but it's just been great, like laying the groundwork. So now I'm with issue 3, and sometimes that means you take out characters, like there are members of the team. I promise you, I've come with more than 4 members of Phenomenova, 5 for counting Galvanite.
Right.
But I was like, this character is not adding anything other than I want him to be there. Out. This one out. And then what happens is I'm coming up with the villains, and I'm like, all right, what is their mission? Okay. Here are the ones that absolutely need to be there. Okay, this one. Okay, but they still need to do this for the heist. And then I have to go, do I have a character? And I'll go through my list of characters. I don't really have anyone that fits this mold. Here's a new one. Boom. And so because of that, there's something about, like, there's a difference between overthinking and then sometimes you just got to get it done. And the truth of the matter is, if you're seriously missing something, it'll come to you, or you'll come up with something to fill in the gap. Claremont would do that all the time. You know, they're sometimes to great effect, and then sometimes you get Gateway. You know, Gateway and Jubilee were both characters that were meant to fill a void.
Right.
Okay, they're in Australia in the middle of nowhere.
How are we going to get them anywhere?
So what did they do? He turned that crux into something brilliant. We had one of the coolest, I think, bits in X-Men history. It was ultimately, you know, needed to come to an end. But what do we do? Okay, what if we have this guy who can teleport them? Well, then hold on. They can go anywhere. Oh my God. Why don't we just send them all over? All right, Wolverine can have his own series in Madripoor. We could just establish he just goes. Somehow he's able to be in multiple series in like a span of a week.
Right.
Whatever. There's this mini series where Havoc and Wolverine are in Mexico. What if we just have a throwaway line where they say, let's go to Mexico, then we can release this? What if we do, you know, have them go, how does Psylocke end up in Japan? Gateway, you know?
Yeah.
Now, does Gateway do anything? No.
He just sits there and meditates.
Old and wise, and he's Aboriginal. Great.
He's just hanging out.
And I love that. I just read, I don't know if you read Prelude today to Future Past. Once again, he's just a plot device. This guy has not had like any character development. And part of me kind of respects it.
I mean, like, you know, commit to the bit, right?
But he's so boring. Or then Jubilee, they're like, oh, we got rid of Kitty Pryde. We need a new
Kitty Pryde kind of aged out, so we need a...
No, she didn't even age out. She just she was still a kid, but she was in Excalibur. So they're like, Jubilee. Her name is Jubilation Lee. And I'm like, all right. She has firework power. I was like, all right. I mean, she does her job fine, but there's not a single moment I was reading that where I was like, you know, can we have Kitty Pryde back?
Never thought you'd miss Kitty Pryde, huh?
No, I love Kitty Pryde. She's in my top 3. You don't like Kitty Pryde?
No, I like Kitty Pryde just fine. I mean, I named my car Shadow Cat.
That's a cool name.
Yeah. No, it's a black car, and she's very smooth and silent. So yeah, I love my car.
Nice.
But yeah, I always thought her name Shadowcat was great. I thought that was an awesome code name, and it made sense for her because she's great at stealth.
Mhm.
I feel like Kitty
Also, because
Pryde
their
kind of
other
hasn't
names were
been,
not good.
huh? Yeah,
Also, because yeah, which they don't call her Shadow Cat enough. Shadow Cat is
no,
such a
they
cool
don't.
name, and everyone still calls her Kitty Pryde. I'm like, stop.
Yeah,
She has a cool
she's got a
name,
code name. Use it. Yeah,
and I don't know why. Whereas one of the weird things is there are multiple characters that, and this is one of the things I realize when I'm writing. I'm like, oh, I was looking back at some older scripts, and issue 2 was literally my concept was, oh, I need to establish what each room in their headquarters is, and then all of their powers. No, I don't. This is
you can
boring.
discover that along the way. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe for your own sake and to have that in like your work Bible or just to get it straight in your head. But you don't need to take the audience through that. You can take the audience through that in little bits here and there. You can reveal it in the course of the story, kind of how like Harlan Ellison will tell you about the whole world, just two guys having a conversation around the fire.
Yeah, and they
You
don't,
know.
and whatever gaps you want filled can be filled later on,
Hmm.
and that's part of what I like about the trading cards is I have these characters thought inside and out, and I'm like I can't say everything about. I can't just give a lore dump,
Right.
where I can give a bit of a lore dump, but it's not going to be big enough. Um,
Yeah, I mean, lore dumps though they can be a little dry, and they, like you said, it can get a little boring.
yeah,
I feel that when you're giving lore to a world, and you want to get something across, it is better to do it through the course of the story. It feels more natural because let's say, when you go somewhere, right, and you're kind of picking up on little things here and there as you're observing the world around you. When you let the audience discover things through the course of the story, it's like they are there and they're able to observe and pick things up, as opposed to somebody just telling them all about where they're at. And people
yeah,
aren't going to remember that. People remember when they pick up on things, though. It's that audience interaction. You know what I mean?
yeah, and this is again where I've grown so much as a writer because issue 4 had a scene that was in issue 2 where it was a training sequence, and I really liked the training sequence because it was so cool, and it was like my powers do this, 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 this. I might keep some of it, but I'm almost like I don't know if I even need this. I feel like I've outgrown this as a writer.
Yeah.
So I'll think of
Mhm.
if it's there, it's because it's good. But I was
Right.
like, you know what? They're going to use their powers anyway, and you're
Yes.
going to have to explain it to explain what's going on. So
Hmm.
might as well just do it that way,
Right.
Um, and I think there's just so much cool stuff that I can't wait to show. And I was able to with 3. I think is my best one yet because. All right, so I've established a lot of like the idealism and stuff, but I think
Right.
3 is the best on my technical level.
Hmm.
Because
Speaking of three.
yeah, my storytelling.
Hmm.
I introduced so many characters, and I'm like, okay, let me just tell you enough about them because the team has a very simple mission from here to here. The villains
Hmm.
have a simple mission here to here. Galvanite, this guy just stormed in, and he's like in a nuclear reactor. Like this is a good idea. Now we're seeing some of the consequences. Like some of the
Right.
stuff he did was like resulted in bad things. These guys were probably had a plan for how they were going to intercept this delicate situation, and this kid just runs in there, and it's like, all right, dude. So one of the things I like is now we're kind of instead of just introducing them with a handshake or whatever, they're now thrust into the action where we
Right.
have the villains are thrust into their midst of a mission. What was their backstory before we get there? We'll figure it out. But it was
Right.
just, and everything you need comes out in the moment. And I like it because I did a lot of complex stuff with this. The way I told this story was
Yeah.
kind of unconventional. So Estrella can absorb memories. We meet her in issue 2
Right.
through physical contact. She has psychometry, so
Hmm.
she can kind of feel the memories of the world around her in real time. And so, and she could also absorb into the past memories. And this is one of the things where I have limits to her power and everything. And I was like gonna break it down in greater detail in issue 2, and I kept just cutting lines. And I'm like, you know what? You'll
Right.
see what her limits are. and she kind of has to investigate. The fresher the crime scene is, it's like memories in real life. They get fuzzier over time. She's
Sure.
able to absorb it better now. So she takes his memories, this, and her own memories being on the mission. And she's like,
Right.
okay, how did the villains get in? What happened? What went wrong? That way we could understand what happened here so we could catch them in the future. So in doing so, we finally get to revisit the team in memory form. So we don't know, how badly this team is hurt in the
Right.
action. We know one of these characters, it's not really a spoiler, because in issue 2 was established, in issue 3 we see it, is laying in a bed in the medical bay. Is she
Right.
okay? We don't know. We know Estrella's fine. We don't know about the two guys, and now we're just kind of unraveling. And it's some of my favorite stuff because we're jumping back and forth in time where she's. What's one of the things I pulled from? Did you ever play the Batman Arkham games?
Oh yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, in Arkham Origins, they had this great that game. I actually really liked that game. You know how they would have their rewinding forward detective scenes where you analyze this piece of evidence and then you add it and you kind of piece together the crime scene.
Yeah.
That was
Oh
kind
yeah.
of how I decided to tell the story in this issue.
Okay. So you get to do the superhero stuff, but you also get to play with like kind of like a mystery element.
Detective.
Do
Yeah.
the whole detective thing. That's cool. And that adds to the storytelling. It's not just straight, punch 'em up superhero stuff. You get to add a different, you get to add a little bit of a different genre in this, and I think that's cool. I think more stories should try to do that, but only when it makes sense for the story being told. Trying to shoehorn a genre into your superheroes can sometimes lead to awkward stuff that doesn't actually work. Kind of like when artists try to mash up two different music types, and it doesn't really work. She's got two clashing genres in one cacophonous musical atrocity. So yeah, as long as it works for the story being told, I think it's a good idea to change it up a little bit. It gives that contrast we were talking about earlier. In a story arc, you got to have that contrast as well. It gives something that stands out from the rest of the tone of the story. So I think it's a cool thing, man. You ever watch that movie Memento?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Memento.
Yeah. It's a good movie. So I'm that's kind of what it put me in the mind of what you were saying about her powers and like piecing things together. Mm-hmm. So I think this could be really cool, man.
Yeah. And if this is your first issue, you can hop on with this, but you're going to want to read the first two anyway. But yeah. Oh, look at that. All right, new backer just rolled in.
Let me reload the page here.
Oh, it just spilled in on, which is a feature I really like at Kickstarter. There we go.
It ticked forward on the stream here. Nice.
So this is the most backers I've had on a single platform campaign, which is great.
That's great. 275. That's fantastic, man.
Yeah. And the faster, here's the thing. I want to, because I have other projects I want to be working on, like that short story collection, possibly some others. And I have conventions I'd love to do. I would love to just, because I'm going to bang out the issue 4 script, like revise it, and then work right through it if need be, because obviously there's the slow months or whatever. So the more I do on this, the faster we can get to issue 4.
Yeah.
So like I'm not keeping any of this for myself. This is all going.
It's going right back into the company and ensuring that you can make book 4. Well, I mean that shows that you're committed to what you're doing, man. And as a person that collects comics and loves stories, I mean, anybody that knows me knows that I fucking love stories. Mm-hmm. I think that that shows dedication to what you're doing. So hats off to you there.
Yeah, and if it weren't for A, money, and B, my artist just had stuff in his life,
right?
We could be further. Like these characters, the Stormbearers, were designed before issue 1 was even in.
What's up, Eric Grant?
Before issue 1 was shipping out, because I remember I went down to Arkansas to the fulfillment center. Mm-hmm. I was getting the designs for the Stormbearers, so issue 2 was already inked, and we were on the issue 3 designs.
Yeah,
before issue 1 was even shipped. I want to keep that pace.
Yeah,
but that obviously requires all this stuff. And again, if you think, even if you're like, I don't know if this is my thing, if you think this has any potential, don't take my word for it. The Global Comics chose as a staff pick. Mike Barron likes it.
Yep.
Justin Gray likes it.
Yep.
Justin Gray was the first guy to give me feedback, and he was very brutally honest, and helped me become the writer I am and want to be. If you
Justin's a good writer.
Yeah, so
he and
likes
Jimmy
it.
did a lot of really good stuff with Jonah Hex. And there's other stuff that they wrote together, but I mean the most well-known thing was the long run of Jonah Hex that they did together. And yeah, he's a great writer, man. I enjoy his stuff, so that's high praise. And not for nothing, I liked it as well. So
Yeah, your praise.
I like to
matters.
think I got good taste.
You do. No, you. It is. It is. Especially, yeah. I remember you saying it was your favorite, which I appreciate, and I think it's only going to get better. And man, there are ideas I want to do. I'd love to do an anthology book at some point, where like just a bunch of short stories, 10. And that was one of the other things I came up with. I'm like, nope, wait, let's get issue 4 out,
Right.
at least, because I keep eyeing other projects. Like I'll give you an example.
Yes. That is the curse of being a creative. You got all kinds of ideas that keep kicking around in your head, and they are all begging to be unleashed upon the world. Yeah.
And and here's the thing, people, you have to sell them on one at a time.
Yes.
And I'll keep selling people on these forever. But man, issue 3 is just, people are. See, like again, that's such a good feature.
Create a campaign. Here we go. I was wondering why Kickstarter was not looking correctly.
You can't back issues 2 and
there we go. Okay.
Look at those beautiful covers, man.
Yeah.
That's one of the things too. I took all this time to get you to care about Galvanite, and now he's taking a back seat in this issue. But his role is important. He's kind of a framing device.
We finally get to see the title team, because the Phenomenova is the name of the team that shows up in this issue. Let's, before we go any further, let's go ahead and take a look at your trailer real quick.
Yeah.
We call ourselves Phenomenova. Yesterday, the Stormbearers, a deadly group of mercenaries, took control of a nuclear reactor.
They look like a group of badasses.
Before we arrived on the scene, Galvanite, a superpowered teenage boy, attempted to stop them. He failed. His story ended there that day. Ours began shortly after. Today, I sift through the memories of that day. I will put the pieces together, and we will bring those responsible to justice.
I make my trailers, man.
Okay, nice. Well done, sir. You got some good endorsements here from top-notch writers, man. Oh, that narwhal cover.
Yeah. The original art was on the campaign. So that's going to be a thing. There's going to be a day 1 trading card. So we didn't hit 10K with issue 2. So that was a day 1 trading card. I reused it for issue 3 backers.
Nice.
But there we go. We got the issue 3, we got some trading cards there as well.
Heck yeah. And never throw anything away. Nothing is ever wasted. And here you can see at the beginning, you can see a bunch of ringing endorsements from Mike Barron, from Justin Gray, from our boy Billy Tucci, and Film Comics Explained.
Yeah, YouTube channel, over a million subs.
Heck yeah. People like good stories, man. And people like to... it's not just me working at a comic shop. I like to tell people about stories that I enjoy. I like to share good stories with people because stories are an intrinsic part of our human experience. It's how we kept track of our history. And storytelling is the oldest profession in the world. So this is a badass variant cover right here.
Oh yeah, Bobby,
love the black and white.
I was with him at Heroes Con.
Yeah.
He did that, and we ultimately decided to stick with a black and white and a virgin cover on that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, everyone, all these variant covers are limited. They might be even more limited this time around. We will see. So if you want these variants, make sure to get them by back in the campaign. Whatever's left over will be available. I might put it on my website too, but
right.
I might put the past variants on my website. It was suggested to me. I'm like, why not? But
they
will be higher
you have
in
limited
price.
Yeah. Well, of course. Yeah. That is encouragement to jump on the campaign while it's live to make sure that you get the ones that you want.
Vivacity was one of the earliest characters that we designed because before I had Philip Cruz as my artist, I had Adriana Brown was going to do it. Then Adriana Miller, she got married and she went off and did some stuff, and then she came back right around perfect time. This character was debuting, so I was like, I want you to draw a cover with her. And she's like, I want to do more. I'm like, I want you to do more. And so adding to the things I get to do, she's like, I was like, why don't we do Phenomenova Origins Vivacity? And then in typical fashion, that kept ballooning and ballooning. And I'm like, so
it's what we call Project Creep.
Yes. So we're going to be working on that. And then she ended up coming up with multiple color schemes. And I was like, you know what? If you want to do, I like this one, but if you want to do this one as a variant, she's like, all right. So
that's definitely a cool variant cover. A lot of energy going on here. And plus, hot chick on the cover always helps boost sales.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's the bad guys cover.
Yeah, I needed a villains cover. And we kind of shopped between artists. Certain people couldn't make it. And then my buddy Zach came in clutch. We're doing a book together, too, a sci-fi book. So another project I've been writing.
Don't spread yourself out too thin now.
I've been doing that. I need to just, focus up more. But I'm kind of getting all my stuff together so I can. But ultimately, this book, this cover... Again, the original art is on the campaign. For Bobby's cover, that original art's on the campaign. Same with Zach's. And I wanted all the villains on there. And then Zach is a great storyteller. It's one of the reasons I like working with him. Is I told him, just draw some of the villains. It could be just whatever generic background. They could even be at their HQ. And he goes above and beyond. He's like, no, there's going to be this guy hurt in the ground them. And then we're going to have all these villains. And then
gotta tell a story, man. Even just a still image is storytelling.
He added the caption himself because none of the other variants have had captions. He takes that 1-3. He goes, make it bigger, and I'm like, you don't want to cover your? He's like, no, I want to tell a story. So consummate professional. Zach knows where his priorities are. He goes, I want trade dressing. Here's where you should do. He's so good. And keep an eye, if you're not following Zachary's art, Zachary Marois on Twitter, you should. He's got some amazing stuff coming out. And I want him to draw more stuff. I'd love to do kind of like, when X-Men got more and more popular, they started to have BWS do a few issues.
Yeah.
Art Adams doing it. I'd love to get to that point.
Right.
Where I could just start bringing in, other artists. But in the meantime, getting them to do covers is pretty damn cool. And speaking of,
heck yeah.
And I'll say this. So Viken Marion was supposed to do a cover, but he had too much going on. And he, man, do you take breaks, Michael? I should. I should take breaks. I keep adding more stuff up. Yeah.
Hey, man, when you're passionate about something, you just kind of go. Just don't burn yourself out. That's all. Otherwise, keep having fun, man. Keep doing your thing.
Yeah. And so we had this Pair Birds cover right here. And this is great because I remember Veek and Marion couldn't make it, but he's on track to do an issue 4 cover,
Nice.
which is going to be exciting. And I was like, Pear, do you want to draw this? He was like, yeah. And so he did. I gave him the script because I think he's a brilliant storyteller. I'll be honest. When the first time I saw his art, I was like, I don't get it. And then, and I've told him this. I'm like, I don't get it. And then I started reading some of especially his stuff, and his pacing, the way even when Mark Millar was talking about with his angles, like I would have never thought to frame it this way when I wrote the script. I never thought this, but I knew. I said, here's the script. I want you to read it because I respect you as a writer, and also because I know he's going to come up with something that I didn't even think of. And I go, what do you think in a drawing? He goes, this scene where they're grappling up, which I would have never thought was cover material. And then he adds the drone shooting down. He adds all this stuff.
A lot of drama in this piece. A lot of movement. Yeah. I
know. And I'm like, they just kind of grappled up, and he makes it this epic cover.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right.
Yeah. I think Narwhal is a prime example of doing your thing your way and finding success. Not chasing trends, not, trying to be like everybody else, but doing, what really resonates with you and, doing what you love and the money follows, and the recognition, working with Mark Millar. So, I mean, that's to me, that's encouraging. That says, hey, keep doing what you do. And people will see it. It'll resonate. So yeah, no, I dig this cover. And I'm with you. There's some stuff that I've seen that Narwhal has done. I've been like, I don't understand. But yeah, this is very dynamic, and I liked a lot of the stuff he did on Vatican City.
And a little fun. I don't know if I've ever said this. This is one of the things you realize when you're doing a production. Is especially when there's deadlines and stuff. My artist likes to draw in sequential, and even though this character does show up early, by the time we were going to launch this character, he had picked this moment, and I was like, oh, we don't know what the Doctor looks like yet. And so they're both drawing around the same time, and I was like, who's slightly ahead? I'm like, all right, Perry, what does she look like? You tell. And then I told my artist, he starts getting into things mid-cover, and I was like, pick this. And then my colorist, like a couple weeks ago, just started making her a redhead. I'm like, no, we got that covered. This is what she looks like. So Pear technically co-created this Doctor character, Dr. Bentley.
Ah, okay, so, cool.
It's her first appearance. Is
her
cover.
Right here.
Yeah, technically.
Being held or kidnapped by the main villain. What is his name? Dark Cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she being kidnapped? Is she being held? It'll make sense in the context.
I don't know. He looks like he's kind of holding her tenderly. She doesn't really look like she's being taken against her will. That's for sure. Yeah.
I wonder what
guess you guys will have to grab this issue to find out. Yeah.
And then that was the 48-hour cover. And this one won't be on Fund My Comic. It won't be on if I even use Indiegogo. It won't be on there. So you might be saying, well, not the 48 hours are up. Yeah, but if you get all 6 covers, you can get this.
Holy cow, all 6 covers.
So if you get all 6 covers, this is included as the 6th. So
what's up, Ms. Good Stuff? Good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. And, Rushbrook said, man, do you take any breaks? And Feline's like, remember, he's still young, Michael.
Yeah, I should take breaks sometimes. I know.
And Rushbrook's like, I know, Feline. Us old guys have to take breaks more often.
I have to take breaks. I just don't.
Again, don't burn yourself out, dude.
I know.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with taking breaks. Gives you a minute to reflect. Exactly.
Should.
And some writing advice actually is write something, then step away from it for a while. That way, when you come back, it should look like a foreign artifact that you didn't write, and that'll give you perspective on what you did.
Or you might go, oh, that worked. Like sometimes I'll revisit stuff. Sometimes I'll be like, and then sometimes I go. And sometimes it's back to back. I'm like, I remember revisiting issue 5 after years and going, man, this is not that good. This was not as good as I remember. And then I revised. It was my favorite issue, and it still is. But I remember going, all right, this is like 2 pages, 3 pages. That's like a panel.
Yeah.
Why am I going off with this? And I'm like, okay, so I've improved. And then I get to certain pages where I'm like, this is perfect. This is some of the best stuff I've ever written. And that's kind of how it is.
Stepping away gives you perspective. Yeah. Eric Grant says, I have the inverse problem. I need to do stuff. Yeah, there's got to be a balance, man. There's got to be a balance.
Even this, I didn't even celebrate this victory much today because I'm like, cool, all right. Anyway, back to this.
On to the next thing. Yeah, no, you got, man. We gotta take time to celebrate the victories.
Yeah.
You know,
this is a victory.
Absolutely. And so, how many pages are we looking at in this issue of Phenomenova?
43. So it was 28 initially, which is going to be my new standard. Because all right, so I was never going to make every issue as big as issue 1.
Right.
And then issue 2 was 24, which is going to be my standard, maybe 28, right? But 24 for issue 2. And then this was going to be that. And then I get some notes from my editor, who's great. He'll see something in my work, and he makes me a better writer and bring out my best work. And
that's what editors are supposed to do. They're supposed to polish.
Or he'll be like, this is good in here, you're not conveying, and so I'll go back and I started adding some stuff, and he goes, I add a bunch of pages, he goes, cool, you still didn't fully address this. I'm like, all right. So then I go and I'm looking at my artist's work, and I'm like, you know what, I gave him all these splash pages and spreads in issue 1, and then issue 3 there's so much going on, and I'm like, look at all these characters. Let's give them room to breathe. We're never going to get a second chance to introduce Phenomenova. Right. I'm indie, which means I don't have to meet their quotas like back in the day.
That's right.
Let's give us those 90s style, a mix. I kind of pull from a mix of both, but I'm like looking at Batman Hush. Now it's not nearly as decompressed as Batman Hush issue 1 is, but it's somewhere where it's like, let's give him some breathing.
Yeah.
You know, and my writing style is much looser now, where I'll give them just like a bunch of beats and I'll go, all right, as long as like you get this stuff within these 4 pages, you can make this panel bigger or whatever. I go nuts. Right. And now my writing style is much more lax, and because of that, I'm not setting myself up with all these crazy expectations.
Yeah.
So I'll just be like, so it makes me happier, and it also means I can move on instead of obsessing over a panel.
Yes.
And so overall, we're more efficient as a team. He has more room to draw those cool group shots because we have 2 cool groups all in action. I'm like, let's just expand this. Let's let it breathe. Like the villains, I was like, oh, this takes up most of a page. I'm like, no, this will take up 2 pages. So I made sure that the villains coming in, that's a double page spread, and then
that's a cool image. They look like a group of badasses there to handle business. So I like that.
And Jesse just brings it together with the colors, and I remember, man, it's so good. And then
there's your team.
People asked, "Oh, can that be a mini print?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So
hadn't thought about it like that, but yes, it absolutely can be. There you go.
It is. So that. And then when I had my trailer, there was the line, "We call ourselves Phenomenova" in the beginning. And I was like, well, I don't have another shot of the group as a team because I knew roughly what the covers are going to be. Right. And I was like, Adriana, you just got done with this. I'm not going to start a new project yet. You want to draw a mini print of the team, and then we'll use that? And she was like, okay. And she did, and she killed it. You'll see that. We also, of course, have a fan art contest. The winner of the fan art contest gets a free copy of the main cover and also gets featured in the book.
Nice.
Brett Barkley.
Yeah, and how long is the art contest going on for?
October 3rd.
Nice. Okay, so there's still time to enter, you guys, if you're interested. Yeah. So 43 pages for $15. That's good stuff, man. And then you can get all 3 covers, issue 3, all covers. That's all 6 covers, and that was the only way to get the 48-hour variant. You said, right? Okay. Heck yeah! All issues and the mini print. Catch up. Okay, got some great tiers here, man. And then this is the card, the first card.
That was for day 1 backers, yeah.
Nice.
And I always, if I can't fit something with them on the page, I always use the trading cards. The reason I like them more than mini prints is I get to kind of give you information about a character that isn't in the book.
Yeah.
that I may not get to anytime. So you learn more. So it gives me a chance to write, gives you more opportunity to care about the characters, gives you some extra lore.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I used to love about the cards. I still have binders and binders of cards that I used to collect back in the day with my dad. We would go buy a box of cards and we'd open them all up and we'd try to get the whole set plus the chase cards. Usually managed to get the entire set and most of the chase cards, and then we would have to run down the other ones. What's up, Shelby? Good to see you, man. He says, Jesse's my homie. We used to be neighbors before I moved down here to T-Town.
I'll text them. I'll message Jesse.
Heck yeah. And Michael says, love that Juju card.
Oh, yeah, she killed it.
That kind of has like an old school Marvel Universe feel to it, the design of the card. I dig it. Mm-hmm. I love seeing everybody's take on the classic like kind of card style. And I love seeing the lore dumps on the back, or like the did you know, little fun facts about the characters. I think that's a great way to add that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you can catch up if you guys missed the first 2 issues. You can catch up and grab issues 1 and 2, so you will be prepared to read issue 3. However, you don't need to have read both of them to enjoy issue 3.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and so this is the group shot you were talking about.
Yeah, those are Phenomenova, and if you see, I wanted Thermo's costume to glow blue there because when he uses heat, he glows red. When he uses cold, it glows blue.
Ah, okay, yeah.
And yeah,
because the thermal stuff is hot and cold. It's not
and
just
its neutral
hot.
State, it glows purple.
Well, there you go. That makes sense. A lot of storytelling can be done with colors too.
Yeah, and that's when I didn't realize like how you learn all these things as you go.
Yes.
But yeah,
making
so shipping is
making
less
comics
this time around, but we get the mini prints to add to,
Yeah, kind of offset some of that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. And then this is the
I should have brought all the variant covers back for campaigns as add-ons. Next time I'll do that. I'll put them on my website. But I was like, you know what? You guys, the last time you saw this cover, you were like, oh, Rini cover of this guy and this. And then despite only being in literally 2 pages of the first issue, Dark Cloud is still the fan favorite character. And I was like, you know what? You're going to get more of him. But now that he has a fan base, here's this cover. It's a little pricey, but I think we have maybe 16 of them left. We don't have a lot left.
Yeah, so if you want this, jump on it now while you can still get it.
And keep in mind, a couple of them over the course of the campaign, because I went to a few cons, we went down like 6 of them, I think, at cons, and then one off my website. So I've had to adjust the number a few times to make it less. So
yeah, it's a good cover. It's eye catching. And people like limited edition covers. You gotta remember that we as comic nerds are collectors. We like to collect things, and we all know that the lower the print run, generally speaking, at least, the lower the print run, the more valuable it will be later on. We like rarity.
And to give you a new perspective, Phenomenova as a staff pick on Global Comics has, I think, almost 1,000 new readers this month alone. Okay.
Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Which means inherently that one day down the line, if they decide I don't feel like buying it, maybe I'll wait for a trade, whatever. Oh, I want the first appearances.
Yeah.
I read most of Claremont stuff or on Marvel Unlimited, and you know what I do? I go back for those first appearances.
Oh yeah, you want to find those actual issues. Again, got to play to the collector's market, man.
Yeah.
Can't neglect that.
These are they are going to only go get more valuable. I can't imagine these would get devalued. So if you think any of these characters of this IP has any potential, I would get these copies now. We're already on a second print run of issue 1, unless you want to get one of the variant covers. And message me, by the way, if you want any of the variant covers. I have them all. I could ship them to you. You could PayPal, whatever.
Yep. Link for Vaughn's X account is in the description of this video, so feel free to hit him up. Also, his link tree is in the description of this video as well. Okay, so there's the Michael Rushbrook card. Need to get to 20K, so you all get the Galvanite card. Michael, you did a fantastic job on that card, man. It's just badass. Yeah.
Really killed it. Galvanite. So we had the makeshift costume, the debut costume in issue
Yeah.
1. Now that was a trading card, and then I had people vote actually on who they wanted to see, and Galvanite in his new training uniform, which that's
Yep.
another thing. When I'm always talking about moving to the next thing, I'm like, all right, give him a training uniform, just move on. This is a really, like, if I had just said this is a new costume, I think people would have liked it. Like, this is a
Yeah.
cool costume, but
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
like,
great
it's just
design.
training uniform. I'll wait till the next one. I'm like, dude, give
Yeah.
yourself some credit. This is good.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
good.
you just let things be as they are. I mean, how many times have characters changed their costumes over the years? And some hit, some don't. You
The
know,
new mutant, yeah, it's kind of like how the new mutant. This is like the Phenomenova equivalent to the generic X-Men New Mutants costumes.
the yellow and blue costumes. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I get you. No, it's cool, man. It's cool, and it works. Also, I just want to point out this is a really cool card as well. This is a badass card.
Brett
Yeah.
Barkley, 2-time Phenomenova fan art contest winner. So I do pay very close attention to people that enter my fan art contests.
There you go. That's awesome, man. And then, so obviously, original artwork is available on the campaign. These are the tiers that we were looking at right here. Okay, VIP tier. 5 copies of each. Oh, wow. So this is kind of like your retailer bundle.
But it's bigger. There's more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 5 copies of each cover. So I mean, that's 5 copies of 6 different covers, right?
Oh, I just realized that image is kind of misleading because it doesn't include issues 1 and 2.
Oh, wow.
But
Well,
I can't change that.
Issue 1's right up here. Issue 2's right down here.
Right, but that VIP tier doesn't include it, so I'll have to mention that. I'm like, hey, just so you know, if you want them, I could swing a deal. So I'll mention that. If
Oh, okay. So it doesn't include issues 1 and 2.
Right.
It's just every cover of 3.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. I want to see. I love seeing tiers like this where retailers could buy a bunch of them, get a deal on them, and then be able to sell them in the shop.
Yeah. We also do have a retail tier as well. Someone bought it, which I didn't even realize.
Excellent. I'm happy to hear that. I used to work in. I mean, everybody knows this that watches my channel. I used to work in my local comic shop, and it got hard, like to recommend stuff to people in the shop, just because there wasn't a whole lot of good stuff on the wall. People would come in, because they had been watching the Marvel movies, and they were like, "Hey, what's good?" Figured I've been watching these movies with my kids, and I figured I'd bring them in so they could check out stuff, and I want to maybe start collecting again. What's good to read? And I was like, well, and I would have to, kind of point them towards some back issues or maybe something that Mark Millar had written and stuff like that. And then I in my head, I'm thinking, well, there's a lot of really good stuff that's being, put out in the indie sphere online that's not in previews, but, can't say that because, actually trying to sell the stuff that's in the shop. So it was a really, from 2015 to 2022, I worked in my local comic shop. So. Yeah, it was. I kind of watched the mainstream industry kind of faceplant and crumble, which was sad because I've been reading comics since I was a kid.
And then if you look, there's the Pearberg cover. It was done
Yep.
on the back of a unused art piece for Vatican City. So you actually get 2 pieces of artwork for the price of 1.
There you go. See, I mean, and that's the deal right there. Let's see, where is it? It was. I just looked at it. There it is.
There we go.
Yep. $500 for a piece of original Pearberg artwork. Now he used to work mostly digitally, so this is some rare actual physical artwork from our boy Narwhal. Rushbrook is asking, what's his actual costume look like? I wonder, says Michael Rushbrook.
I don't know yet.
You'll have to stick around to find out.
I have ideas, but I'm also willing to be surprised.
Right.
Because my ideas when I was younger, I was like, oh, he'll have, and then I'm like, there's 100 other characters that look like what I was thinking. So
right.
When I let myself be a little more open, I find,
Yeah.
But giving direction is important too. But no, Michael killed it.
He did. He really did.
Really happy with it.
The campaign looks great, man. I am excited for more people to jump in on this. It is encouraging that somebody picked up the retailer tier, and I want to see more of that. I want to see more. I mean, since Diamond has done whatever they've done and gone the way of the dodo, I would like to see more retailers step up and actually do more research and figure out, that there's a lot of really cool stuff in the indie sphere and a lot of stuff that wasn't in Diamond. It was yes, convenient to have a catalog where, they could easily order from, but it's all splintered now. You've got to order from a bunch of different places already anyway. You might as well do a little more research and find new stuff to add to your shop that will, get people hooked. Actual good stories, because people are always looking for good stories. They want to be entertained, and you will be entertained with Phenomenova. Well, we've been going for about an hour and 22. Is there anything else you'd like to say about Phenomenova before we wrap this up?
I don't think so. I think we've basically said everything. All right, so it should be done by the end of the year.
Okay, yeah. When are you looking to fulfill? The end of this year?
Yeah, that's my hope.
Okay.
If everyone meets their deadlines, it should be in people's hands by the end of the year. My hope is just to have it ready for Christmas. That's my hope. And then
that's awesome, man.
Start 2026 with issue 4 and some other projects. That's why I'm scrambling, because I'm like, at the end of the year, I want to just machine gun out some stuff next year.
Heck yeah. Well, guys, featured tier, $45. You can get all the physical books. If you missed them, go ahead and hit that, and hit the link that Feline has graciously dropped in the chat for you guys. Vaughn, always a pleasure talking with you, man. I always enjoy talking story with you, and just keep your excitement going. Keep making good shit, man. Keep entertaining people, and keep rolling forward. That's the way you got to do it. Chat, you guys are amazing. I appreciate you guys being here, and we will see you next time. And remember,
shop smart, shop S-Smart.